Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. The new Board of Election members took their oath of office Friday morning at the VI Supreme Court in Subbase. Judge Ives Swan conducted the swearing-in ceremony. What are some of the goals of the new board? News 2's Erica Bivens brings us the story.
Do solemnly swear or affirm. Do solemnly swear or affirm.
Judge Ives Swan issued an oath of honor to 4 Board of Election members, with each one committing to a 4-year term. And returning member Alecia Wells says there's a few things she wants to work on.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity for us to correct some of the flaws we might have or the perceived flaws of the election system. We have a great group of board members, not that we didn't before. I hope that the transparency that we started 12 years ago will continue in this next cycle here.
Also returning is Lawrence Bashulta, who says he hopes we can get the new voting machines in use by 2014.
I'm planning that with the new leadership and the joint board, I think we will have the new voting machines for the next election in 2014.
Lydia Hendricks is a newcomer to the board who says there are several issues she also wants to tackle.
I've seen so many errors in the past, and I'm hoping that I can be a change agent to help that cause. I would also like to be the person who would do some more educating of our public.
And Arturo Watlington Jr. rejoins the board, hoping other members who he says were responsible for most of the problems this past election will have the same mindset.
This last election showed that the board and the election system has a huge amount of problems. So as a returning member, after having been away for 2 years, and especially absent during this last election, there's a huge amount of work we have to do.
Following the swearing in, members held their first meeting joined by the other members, Wilma Marsh Monsanto, Claudette Georges, and Harry Daniel. Watlington was selected as the new chair. He also nominated Monsanto as vice chair, but rescinded it immediately. Daniel was then voted vice chair and Wells secretary. During the organizational meeting, members decided to meet again January 28th at 11 a.m. Now that's the same day the new St. Thomas St. John Elections Office is scheduled to open. Reporting at the VI Supreme Court on St. Thomas, I'm Erica Bivens for News 2.
Watlington also told members about the resignation of Elections Supervisor John Abramson, whose last day is scheduled for May 31st. The news came as a surprise to many current board members. Watlington says the joint board in St. Croix is the one who has the letter, and that he was merely informing the St. Thomas St. John District Board. St. Croix senators of the 30th legislature are committed to working together, not just for the territory, but specifically for the betterment of the Big Island. That's what they said today during a press conference after attending a breakfast meeting hosted by Senator Terrence Nelson. News 2's Erica Parsons has that story.
They're not calling themselves a caucus yet, but St. Croix senators met behind closed doors this morning to talk about how they can work together to put St. Croix first. 6 of the St. Croix senators elected to the 30th legislature gathered for breakfast at the Buccaneer, bent on the same goal, to see St. Croix move forward.
Despite majority-minority formation or political party affiliation, there are issues, pressing issues facing the people of St. Croix, and we've made a commitment here to work together in moving those issues forward.
Some of the things that we talk about is projects, upcoming projects for St. Croix, specifically for St. Croix. Some of the problems in terms of the infrastructure and what we can do collectively to work on these issues.
The only one absent was Senator-elect Kenneth Gittins, whose mother just passed away. On the agenda, priorities like the VI's energy crisis and projects that have been on the back burner.
You can't prosper an economy with a greater issue that is haunting us here on St. Croix and the United States Virgin Islands, which is the energy crisis.
If we look at Guam, they've encountered the same challenges, but one of the things that legislators there did was create a commission that was elected by the people that actually had complete oversight over the electrical plant.
Do what we can as a body to expedite some of these so that ratepayers can see some relief sooner rather than later, and perhaps instill the sense of urgency that we haven't seen yet in the community, and also see what we can do as a body to work with the White House.
The incumbents say they feel like they have a fresh start, and the new senators are thankful for the chance to work on the people's behalf.
I think it was very productive. It shows that St. Croix senators are willing to work collectively and to put St. Croix first to address whatever issues we need to be thinking about.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
Senators Nelson and O'Reilly will also be holding a number of focus group sessions at UVI beginning this month to help develop a policy action plan for St. Croix. Those sessions will culminate with a general town hall meeting. Well, there are several events leading up to Monday's swearing-in of the 30th legislature, beginning on St. John on Sunday, where the public is invited to a pre-swearing-in church service at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church in Cruz Bay. A meet and greet will follow at the Legislative Annex. On Monday, the swearing-in ceremony will take place at 10 a.m. in Emancipation Garden. Following that, senators will convene their first meeting at the legislature to formalize the organization of the Senate. About a month ago, the 10 Democrats selected Sean Michael Malone as president. Donald Cole was also named majority leader. However, they must vote on it during their first session. There will also be an ecumenical service in the Friedensburg Moravian Church in Frederickstead on January 16th. It will be followed by a meet and greet with senators at the St. Croix Legislative Complex. Police on St. Croix are investigating the circumstances surrounding an injured male in estate work and rest that occurred on January 8th. Reports indicate that an injured adult male was found lying on the ground and he appeared to be bleeding. Police say they saw a knife and spent shotgun shell in the immediate area. Further investigation revealed that the victim was armed with a knife while arguing with another male who was armed with a shotgun. The suspect fled the area after the shooting. The victim was shot in his foot and treated at the Juan Louis Hospital and Medical Center. Police on St. Croix are also investigating a January 8th burglary that occurred in Estate Diamond. A female resident told police that shortly after 1 in the morning, she noticed the bathroom window screen on the floor and the louvers damaged. She also noticed that a jewelry box that contained about $5,000 worth of jewelry was missing. Police are still looking for a suspect. St. Thomas police also arrested 18-year-old Shamal Norford and charged him with third-degree burglary for a January 9th incident. Norford was positively identified as the person seen running from an estate content house after it was burglarized, and he was found in possession of the stuff that was taken from the home. Police say the burglary occurred around 4 p.m. and the resident's son was pushed out of the way by Norford when he ran from the house. Norford was placed on $25,000 bail and remanded to the Bureau of Corrections. Well, if you heard gunshots and screaming Friday coming from the Evelyn Marcelli School on St. Thomas, there's a reason. An active shooter emergency response training was ongoing with various law enforcement officers. Blank bullets were used and different scenarios created for the officers to train them on how to handle real-life situations. Instructors taught classroom presentations, which led to Friday's hands-on field training.
It's sponsored by Homeland Security with VITEMA, do all the coordination through VITEMA. So it's a very good training for law enforcement agency.
And with training with different agencies makes it good because, again, the officer may be tied up on cases. Other law enforcement agencies may arrive before us. So, hey, they can go ahead and they're getting the training and they engage right away. So I really enjoy this kind of training.
Vice President Joe Biden is wrapping up a series of meetings on gun violence. The vice president says he'll present proposals to the president next week, but gun right groups are already objecting. Danielle Nottingham reports from the White House.
Vice President Joe Biden is talking to the makers of video games. He wants to hear the group's ideas on how to reduce gun violence. First-person shooter games are criticized for glorifying killing. Max Goldstein was a fan, but that changed when the Newtown resident went to a funeral for a first grader killed during the Sandy Hook school shooting. Last month, the 12-year-old started a group called Played Out, urging kids to throw out their violent games.
It was a little inappropriate and rude to the families who lost children to play these games.
The vice president's task force has heard from a range of groups, from victims of gun violence to gun sellers. He will present the president with a set of proposals by Tuesday. The list could include ideas for tackling violence in movies and games, but the focus is expected to be on stricter gun control, including a ban on assault rifles. Gun rights advocates say they're prepared to stop that from happening. The National Rifle Association called its meeting with the vice president disappointing. The head of the NRA believes the president has already made up his mind.
We said before the election that if Barack Obama were reelected, that he was going to, during his second term, go after our Second Amendment rights. The Newtown tragedy gave him an opportunity to do that.
The NRA is advocating armed guards in schools, and the Obama administration is looking at a plan that would give federal money to schools who want to hire police. Danielle Nottingham, News 2.
And keeping our eye on the economy, Boeing says it welcomes an FAA investigation into its 787 Dreamliner, but Wall Street is not so pleased. Shares of Boeing are down more than 2% after U.S. regulators said it's launching a comprehensive review of the company's newest and most advanced plane after several incidents, including a fire, fuel leak, and a cracked windshield. This is the New York Stock Exchange with Scotiabank Stock Market Watch. The Dow up 17, Nasdaq 3, S&P down. Coming up on News 2, do you have a passion for fashion, the motivation for modeling, and the desire to become a designer? Fashionista is where you need to be this weekend. Details coming up next. Do you have a passion for fashion, the motivation for modeling, and the desire to become a designer? There's an outlet. The upcoming Fashionista is the show designed and tailored just for you. IQ stopped by our studios to give us a taste of what we can expect on that runway.
Everybody's a fashionista. Everybody has their own fashion. You may see something that someone is wearing and you don't like it, but they like it. So fashion is for fashion. Doesn't matter if you're young, old, mature, black, white. Fashionista is fashion.
And that's a good point, because a lot of times people think fashionista, fashion, women, and women only, but everybody wears clothing. And we like the fact that you have like a wide variety. Tell me a little bit about all the different segments we'll be seeing and how many different types involved in the show.
I have over 50, actually close to 60 models.
Wow.
And then have over 12 designers. I have designers, as a matter of fact, I have a designer coming in tomorrow from Hong Kong, and she lives in London. Okay, and then I have a designer coming in from Santo Domingo. Then I have a 212 boutique over in St. John's. I have local designers here like, New Horizon, Orchid Boutique, Natural Liberty. Those type of places are going to be on board in this particular event. And then local up-and-coming designers. This particular show is about the local talent, the designers, all models. So it's open for everyone.
Okay, well, one of our talent is sitting right next to you, and I understand this is your first time with Fashionista, but not the first time modeling. Tell me a little bit about why you decided to participate in this show in particular.
I love modeling. Ever since I was a little girl, it's like, this is what I want, my focus, my determination to take it to another level and to go further. So I'm working hard, walking the runway where I am, practicing by myself, doing my best to have intensity and attitude on the runway. It's a show that nobody can miss.
I have a little hair segment in the show from Hair S to C, and then I have a performance by K Victoria. She's gonna give me some little of her music, and everything gonna basically focus on 4 nonprofit organizations. You have Girls in the Go, who was with us last year. You have Ivana Dover-Kin alumni who's coming on board, CAHS Band Booster, and American Cancer. So all that is wrapped into one to give back. And then you have all the different designers who are also gonna make this a success.
Again, Fashionista is on Sunday at 3 p.m. at the Mark C. Marine Center. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.